About a week or two ago, I got stopped by two different groups of Jehovah's Witnesses who gave me some leaflets. The first group gave me this leaflet, the second group gave me these leaflets. So let's take a look at the first leaflet. Would you like to know the truth? Yes, as a matter of fact, I do actually enjoy the truth. I'm quite a big believer in the truth. But after I finished reading this leaflet, I realised that almost everything in the leaflet was actually not true at all, or had no evidence to suggest that it was true in any way. The only part of the leaflet which actually suggests that anything in the Bible is true is this sentence. Jesus Christ said in prayer to the law, "Your word is truth." That's it, and that's what they use to captivate you. So this absolutely infallible sentence has obviously captivated me, and I am now completely 100% with this leaflet, and I believe everything that it says. Does God really care about us? I don't really think that the leaflet really explains this question very well, so I'm going to give my own answer to these questions. The way I see it is that if God exists, which he probably doesn't, or she or it doesn't really give a shit about anyone. I know this because God, or whatever you want to call it, does not influence life in any way, shape or form because of its randomness. You know, awful stuff happens, brilliant stuff happens. You can't just ignore the awful stuff and just say that the brilliant stuff is awesome because God exists. No. Will suffering ever end? No, it probably won't, and I don't really care whether it does or not. And if I am suffering, then that's just the way it's going to have to go. To quote the great scientist Albert Einstein, "As long as there is man, there will be war." What happens to us when we die? Nothing happens to us when we die because our conscience is inside our brain. When our brain ceases to function, we cease to experience anything. I know that there's a lot of people who believe in a soul, but the soul hypothesis hasn't got any evidence to back it up, so believing in it, there's no reason to believe in the soul hypothesis at all. So, you know, whatever, if you want to believe in it, go ahead. How can I pray and be heard by God? To the author of the leaflet, I don't know whether you know this or not, but prayer actually doesn't work at all. And I know this because of a man named Dr. Benson who did research into prayer, where he had three groups, two experimental groups and one control group. Group 1 was a load of sick people, so are the other two groups as well. Group 1 received prayers and didn't know it. Group 2 received no prayers and didn't know it. And the control group, Group 3, received prayers and did know it. 3 different churches prayed for Group 1 and Group 3, and at the end of the experiment they found in the results there was no difference between any of the groups in any kind of way, either physically or mentally. Everyone was the same in sickness, no one got well unexpectedly. Prayer does not work. In fact, group number 3 actually suffered worse consequences by knowing that they were being prayed for. I'm not going to read the entire leaflet. I can't really be bothered. I just can't take it anymore, I'm going to be honest. So I'm going to move on to the next one, which looks like this. And the first step, as it's called, because there's 7 steps from death to life, whatever that means. First step actually offended me a little bit, I'm going to be honest. It basically says that every single human being, including me, and including you probably, is by default a really bad person. And actually, I'm gonna have to say, I'm not actually a bad person. I'm gonna be, like, you're saying that by default I'm sinful. Yeah, I swear, which is apparently terrible. I suppose I white lie a little bit, but I've never done anything that has caused harm to anyone majorly. If I see anyone in distress, I'll obviously help them out. So I'm going to skip 7 steps, because they're basically 7 steps to become a good person, but I think I regard myself, without being arrogant, as a good person already. And then on the back page it says something that's completely wrong, completely not correct at all. It says, God is kind, God is compassionate, God is forgiving, God loves you. Now I assume by the word God you're referring to Yahweh, which is the monotheistic God of the Christian religion. Now for a Christian, which I assume the author of this leaflet was, you're not very knowledgeable about Yahweh, are you? Yahweh is in no way forgiving. If you read the Old Testament you will see that people commit atrocities which aren't atrocities at all. Stoning for homosexuality, stoning for blaspheming, which isn't even a big deal. Death for apostasy, death for sacrificing animals the wrong way. So that kind of removes the fact that he's kind and the fact that he's forgiving, compassionate, no, because he loves the smell of burning animals. So, for the reason that this leaflet is so incredibly wrong about God being nice, I think it deserves... Oh no, oh no. Yeah. And then we come on to the last leaflet. I actually read this leaflet about 5 times, and it's hilarious. At the beginning it says, let me guess your 3 favourite days, and it says Christmas Day, your birthday, and Halloween. I don't actually like Halloween that much, but yeah, I guess you got it right, because I don't really know what else to pick apart from Christmas and my birthday. And this basically says the same thing as the other leaflets. It says, you are by default a really terrible person, and it says, I bet you can't go for a week without lying and swearing and cheating. And I actually attempted it, but I actually failed. I swore a few times, but I didn't lie, I didn't cheat, I didn't disobey, as it says here. It's just swearing is really difficult, I guess, because like I do it so often, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad person just because I swear. Society has overcome that. So anyway, as I read... So yeah, this leaflet has suffered the same fate as the other leaflet, I'm sorry to say. I know that I will never be reading this ever again. And as for this leaflet, I think I've got something a bit more inventive in mind. There we are, I've now modified it so that it is actually correct. It's got all the true facts in it. I've also modified all the inserts as well. It's got the correct answers to all the questions inside. So I think that's a better version of a leaflet. I might give that out to a few people, might copy it out. So thanks for watching, subscribe if you agree with what I'm saying. If you don't agree, then don't watch any of my videos again, I guess. Goodbye!